Yes. Okay.
Before you watch this video, please like, subscribe.
Hey everyone, my name is Anna, like the princess, but with only one N. This is On Site, and this week we're going to a whole new continent to talk about Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. If you haven't seen our music video for A Whole New World, you can check it out here. There'll be a link in the description. Aladdin is very tricky to pinpoint. The original fairy tale Aladdin is part of 1001 Nights, which is originally a Chinese collection of fairy tales, although I think Aladdin got added later, and Aladdin very clearly does not take place in China. I had originally traced Aladdin to Jordan because Agrabah, which is the city where Aladdin is supposed to live, is supposed to be on the Jordan River in the Arabian Peninsula, and so that seemed like the best bet, and then for a couple of reasons like that didn't work out and I didn't get to go there. I ended up going to India for a couple reasons. It has the next most direct influences, I'm gonna say, over Aladdin. The Taj Mahal inspired the Sultan's Palace, and also Agra, the city where the Taj Mahal is, was the inspiration for the name Agrabah. So it just seemed like the next clearest place to go. It was also the most financially easy. I have a friend who lives there who I stay with. I had easier access to places to film the music video because he had a car, and also got to see a friend, so that just like seemed to be like the best option. So I ended up deciding to go to India, but I struggled with that decision a lot because obviously like the opening song in Aladdin is literally Arabian Nights. The Arabian Peninsula, I mean, is in the Middle East and India is not there, and those are two very different places with very different cultures, and Aladdin is kind of like this hotbed of just a lot of different things going on. And so a lot of people like maybe suggested that I don't include it, and I thought about that. But then at the same time I felt like if I were like a young girl of either descent, like Jasmine would be the princess that represents me, and if I cared about that sort of thing, then I would want to be included. So I tried my best to make the best decision, and I hope that that was the right one. It seemed like if I didn't talk about this, it'd be like shying away from a tough conversation about generalization in movies, and here at On Site we don't shy away from tough conversations, so here we are. So luckily my roommate is from Turkey, which is in the Middle East. She very kindly filmed a lot while she was there over a break. She wasn't there while I was traveling because she was here at school, but she filmed over our last winter break, and she's going to come in and talk to us a little bit later on, so I'm very excited about that. So that way we can try our best to include all of the cultures that are included in Aladdin, but it's really a lot. But for now, here's what happens in Aladdin. So Aladdin lives on the streets of Agrabah, stealing, doing parkour, hanging out with a monkey, fun stuff like that. Meanwhile, our girl, Princess Jasmine, is chilling with her pet tiger and is angry because the law requires her to marry a prince instead of for love. She runs away, accidentally steals an apple, and is rescued by Aladdin, and they have their first date. Aladdin gets arrested and Jasmine goes back to the palace. The evil royal vizier Jafar recruits Aladdin to go into a magical cave and get him a lamp. Aladdin does it, makes friends with the magic carpet, but then gets trapped. Luckily, inside the magic lamp there is a genie who sings a banger of a song and then tells him that he will grant him 3 wishes. He also makes a lot of pop culture references despite living in a time period before pop culture. Aladdin wishes to be a prince so that he might win the heart of Princess Jasmine, but joke's on you, dude, she is not a prize to be won. Instead, he has to be himself and take her on a magic carpet ride so they can fall in love. He returns, get captured by Jafar again, but is saved by the genie. Seeing the magic lamp, Jafar discovers Aladdin's true identity. Aladdin's got like a Hannah Montana complex where he just like kind of wears a hat but doesn't hide his face, but then he'll like put on the hat and people are like, who is that? Jafar's parrot Iago steals the lamp, and Jafar becomes the genie's new master. There's a whole battle. He's a snake at one point. He's like, look what you made me do, Aladdin, but Aladdin's like, you're still not as powerful as the genie though, and Jafar's like, you right, so he makes himself a genie, but he doesn't realize that if you're a genie, you have to live in a lamp forever, so he gets trapped. Aladdin uses his 3rd wish to give the genie his freedom, even though he's lost his title and is no longer a prince, but the Sultan sees that Aladdin and Jasmine are in love and changes the law so that she can marry whoever she wants. Aladdin's also voiced by Steve from Full House. That's not important, I just wanted you to know.
Hey guys, it's our last day in Oslo, also our last day in Norway, also our last day in Europe because we're going to India today. Except we won't be there till tomorrow morning. about our flights today.
So we left Oslo. We had a layover that was so short in Finland that we almost missed our flight, and then we got to New Delhi the following morning.
What up, you guys? We're in New Delhi, India. It's the first time I've been anywhere in Asia, so this is pretty amazing.
So we got there and we met our driver and we drove to the hotel, and the traffic was crazy. I cannot imagine driving in that. It was a lot of traffic. And there were a lot of like stray monkeys, just like wild monkeys. It wasn't like a culture shock, but I was just not expecting to see that. There were about as many as there are just like squirrels in like New Jersey, which is where I'm from. I don't remember who told me this. It was maybe the driver, but somebody told me that like maybe had like a monkey problem because there were so many, and that like there are a lot of stray dogs, and so sometimes the monkeys like adopt dogs, and like if that's not a cute animal movie, like I don't know what is. Like that's so cute. So we had breakfast at the hotel. I love Indian food, so it was the best food that I had on the trip. It was a pretty chill day because the next day we got up pretty early to drive to Agra, which, like I said, inspired Agrabah. So Agra used to be the capital, and then it got moved to Delhi, and it is of course home to the Taj Mahal, which is as beautiful as you think it is.
Day 48 and we are at the Taj Mahal.
So the Taj Mahal was built by the 5th emperor for his 3rd wife and his favorite wife. I think that's right. It is actually a mausoleum, and it has like a mosque on one side and then a guest house on the other side, because he wanted to be close to her, and also because symmetry. It's just this amazing marble place. There's scriptures from the Quran in Arabic on it, which is also really cool. And it's beautiful, and like get you a man who builds you the Taj Mahal when you die. Also in Agra is Agra Fort, which was built by the 3rd emperor and took about like 90 years to build. And it's still in use. Soldiers still use it today.
Hi guys, day 49 and we're in Mumbai.
We stayed with my friend Zahan and his family, who very like graciously welcomed us into their home, and so I didn't film a lot. It was a pretty chill day, but I didn't film a lot because I was like, you know, respecting their house and their privacy.
Oh, by the way, it's day 50. We're in Sanjay Gandhi National Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my friend Zahan. I'm staying with him.
So we filmed a big chunk of A Whole New World at the park. It was 1,000,000,000 degrees, and I was trying to be like covered and respectful in like my shawl and like my long skirt, but it was so hot.
Oh, it's day 51 and we're going to the beach.
So then we went to Zahan's beach house, which was beautiful, but again, I didn't film because, you know, respecting privacy. We filmed the latter part of A Whole New World at the beach though. Yeah, then we like chilled. We took like a very bumpy boat ride and then a very bumpy car ride to get there.
I remember thinking, are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet?
After we finished A Whole New World, we had like maybe like a day and a half left. Like that was our like chill part of the trip. These were like our vacation days. So we like went swimming and like we hung out, and like that was fun. And like I said, I'd been getting like pretty homesick and missed my friends a lot, so it was really good to like see a familiar face. And then I left and I was like kind of bummed.
Hey guys, it's day 52. We are...
This is the last and final departure to Minard. All passengers are requested to board the aircraft immediately through gate 67.
I'm trying to be emo and she's really ruining it for me.
This would be the last time that I like really saw someone like I knew from my life before the trip, until I got home, which wouldn't be for like maybe another 3 weeks. But speaking of friends, it's time to talk about Turkey, so let me go get my roommate. Okay, this is my roommate Penny, and she just got a big Game of Thrones leak, so she's
I'm about to cry.
but she's from Turkey. She's gonna talk about Aladdin. What's your film?
Okay, so I filmed primarily when I was back in Turkey over winter break. I filmed a lot of Taksim, which is our main city square. Well, I filmed like a lot of like the Mediterranean, you know, like the Bosporus Sea, the Black Sea. We have a lot of seas around Turkey. I also filmed a little bit of this traditional like dance. And it's like something that's really prominent in especially Muslim culture. It's called the dervish dance.
Yeah.
And well, it's not like a dance, but you know, like it's kind of a thing that's been historically performed. A lot of people just like spin around. It's like a huge tourist attraction.
Yeah.
A lot of people come and they just like sit and watch a bunch of guys spinning around. It's a lot of fun. I went, I filmed.
It looks fun. It looks fun.
Yeah, it looks fun. So I live in Surrey, and there's a bazaar where it's pretty much open like almost every day. And you just go buy like whatever you want, really, like tourist things, like, you know, like Nazar Bonjuk, which is like the evil eye, or like different types of street food, like clothing, like scarves, etc., etc. We have like a huge like culture of like, you know, like haggling. Like nothing is a set price, and you just like talk to people, especially if you're like clearly a foreigner. They will try to like oversell things to you. They'll be like $50 for this scarf, and a lot of people are like, yeah, sure, that sounds totally reasonable. But
that would 100% be me. I'm scared of haggling.
But yeah, I think I filmed what I filmed because I went there. But
That's
like,
fair, yeah.
I mean, not only just because I went to those places, but I feel like watching Aladdin, like the movie when I grew up, I think there was like a part of it that just felt like homey and like relatable to me, because I felt like, you know, I would like look at like the places, especially the bazaar where like Aladdin and his monkey hang out. And I'm like, oh, that's my place.
Yeah,
you know?
I was gonna say, like, that sounds like where he, like, steals his bread. Then parkours away. So, I feel like a lot of the opinions that I've, like, or the conclusions that I've come to about generalization, in Aladdin specifically, are just, like, based on, like, conversations that we've had. So, what would, which is fine from my interview. So what would you, like, change about the way that, like, Aladdin represents, like, both, I guess, like, Middle Eastern and Indian culture, just because, like, I mean, you're obviously, like, not speaking for all those people, because you're, like, one person, but I mean, like, in your opinion, like, what's the problem there?
Okay, well, I feel like, I mean, it's really interesting, because a couple years ago, the original creators of the cartoon movie said that the setting was supposed to be in Baghdad, in Iraq. And because of the climate, like the political climate in America, they chose to make it a fictional land called Agrabah. And I think that, well, like for me personally, I felt, I mean, I obviously, you know, like I was a little upset when the casting came out, just because like...
For the new movie?
Yeah, for the new movie. Because I did feel like it was something I looked to a lot as a child to be representative of like my own home. And then to find out it was like not people from my own home, I was just like, man, that sucks. And like all of the character names, like Jafar, Aladdin, Ali, Jasmine, they're all Arabic rooted names. And they're like Jafar especially has like Muslim connotations. Also like the royal line, like the Sultan and the Grand Vizier were both things that were from like the Ottoman Empire and like Turkey. I think for me, one of my biggest problems with this adaptation before I've even like seen it, you know, like there's this generalization of like culture, which kind of sucks, you know? Because I would like hope for like a version that like embraces Middle Eastern culture more. And you know, just like instead of Americanizing it, just like embraces the culture itself. There's just this aspect of like, you know, Middle Eastern, Indian, and like every other like Western Asian country. You know, it seems like they're trying to like say like anything from the East is interchangeable. I mean, I don't know these directors. But like I feel like it was almost like seeing what would appeal to the American audience more, instead of having consideration for like what the people actually from the area feel like. And in a way, like, I don't know, the whole like Indian, Middle Eastern thing, you know, like whether you connect to one thing or another, because I'm sure like Jasmine's like the only person from like the East other than like Mulan. So like obviously all of these girls are going to be looking up to Jasmine. I think that like people who are Indian who find a connection to Aladdin, they're not wrong. I mean, there are aspects of it, like especially with like the clothing design. I wish that they had like kind of like stuck to one or the other instead of doing what the cartoon did and like this weird blend of like being like, look, Americans, the East is all the same. You know?
I feel like the Disney remakes are like something that people have like very split opinions on, just like in general. I think that they're like a good way of retelling stories, but they're not like different enough a lot of the times. And so I think that that's kind of the vibe with Aladdin too, from what I've seen of it. And so like obviously it's like already been cast and like with like both like Middle Eastern and like Egyptian and like Indian actors and Will Smith. But what do you like? What would you like? What do you like want to see from the movie?
You know,
like what do you want to see from Disney going forward, like in terms of like representation?
I mean, for me, like personally, I would want to see something that like embraced Middle Eastern culture. You know, like like wasn't afraid to stray away from like the original cartoon movie, because like, you know, that was such like a blend of like every culture from the East.
Was maybe like 30 years ago now, almost 30 years ago now. Like
what I kind of see like in Turkish culture when I like am like in the bazaar, like, you know, because I just like filmed places like I went to. You know, it wasn't like I went out of my way to be like, look at these places.
This is Aladdin.
Yeah, you know,
there he is.
He is. Me and every man I see in the bazaar. Like just showing like day-to-day life without being like super boring in like a movie.
They're both places, you know, with their own like completely different mythologies and like and stuff like that, so I feel like there are so many ways to like tell a fun story still while still being like specific, you know.
It seems like this adaptation is very much like trying to like Americanize like Eastern culture rather than, you know, like exploring something that couldn't be explored 30 years ago.
Yeah. Thanks for being on my show.
Thank you.
A guest star. It's like my first like guest star in my room.
My cameo.
Cameo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so do you want to be my closing with me?
What's your closing?
I just say thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching! Thanks so much to Penny! Thanks so much to Zahan and his family. If you like this video and you're excited to see where we go next, be sure to
please like and subscribe.
And share. And happy Endgame week to everybody. I hope we all like it. It's gonna be fantastic. Have such a good week. I'll see you next time. Oh, they say he's tasty.
Oh, I hate that.
They always are like, he's rather tasty. I'm gonna cut that.